Elena gripped the steering wheel a little tighter as the headlights cut through the inky blackness of the Indiana countryside. It was their first night on the road, and the excitement of the day had worn off hours ago. She and Marcus had left Chicago that morning, their SUV packed with boxes for her new teaching job in Seattle. The move felt like a fresh start, away from the bustling city noise toward the promise of rainy forests and a quieter life. Marcus, her fiancé of 6 months, dozed in the passenger seat, his head lolling against the window. He was the steady one, a software engineer with a calm demeanor that balanced her occasional worries. But tonight the endless flatlands felt oppressive, like the world had shrunk to just their beam of light on the cracked asphalt. They'd been driving for nearly 8 hours, stopping only for quick bites at drive-thrus. Elena's eyes burned from the strain, and her bladder protested. "Hey, babe," she whispered, nudging Marcus. "Gas station up ahead. Need a break?" He stirred, rubbing his eyes. "Yeah, sounds good. Grab some coffee too?" The station loomed like a lonely outpost, its fluorescent lights buzzing under a canopy of stars. It was one of those mom-and-pop places, half convenience store, half relic from a busier era. A single pump glowed outside, and the lot was empty except for a weathered pickup truck parked crookedly near the dumpsters. Elena pulled up, the engine ticking as it cooled. "I'll hit the restroom first," she said, stretching her legs. The air was thick with the scent of diesel and distant rain. Inside, the store was dimly lit, shelves stocked with dusty snacks and faded magazines. An older clerk nodded from behind the counter, his face etched with boredom. Elena made her way to the back where a sign pointed down a short, dimly lit hallway to the restrooms. The women's door creaked open, revealing a cramped space with peeling tile and a faint smell of bleach mixed with something sour. 2 stalls, 1 sink, a mirror cracked in the corner. She hurried into the nearest stall, locking it behind her. As she finished, the sound of the door opening echoed. Footsteps shuffled in, slow, uneven. Elena peeked through the stall gap and caught a glimpse of a woman emerging from the other stall. She was in her late 50s maybe, with tangled silver hair that frizzed out like it had been caught in a windstorm. Her clothes were mismatched, baggy cargo pants sagging at the hips, layered shirts under a heavy denim jacket despite the summer humidity, flip-flops slapped against the floor, and she carried a knotted plastic bag that bulged oddly. The woman's face was gaunt, eyes shadowed, but when their gazes met in the mirror's reflection, something shifted. No smile, just a piercing stare that made Elena's skin prickle. Elena offered a quick, polite nod and turned away, focusing on washing her hands. But the woman didn't move to the sink. Instead, she stood there, body angled toward the door but head twisted back, watching. Her posture was off, tense like a coiled spring, hands dangling at her sides rather than fixing her hair or adjusting her clothes. Elena dried her hands slowly, the paper towel dispenser groaning. "Hot night out there," she tried, keeping her voice light. The woman didn't respond. Her eyes narrowed, a flicker of intensity crossing her face, almost predatory, like she was sizing up prey. Elena's heart picked up pace. Why wasn't she leaving? The silence stretched, broken only by the drip of a faucet. Finally, the woman turned, her flip-flops smacking loudly as she headed for the door. It swung open with a heavy thud, then slammed shut. Elena let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. She waited a beat, then stepped out to the sink, splashing water on her face to shake off the unease. But as she reached for another towel, a soft sound stopped her. Breathing. Shallow, deliberate, coming from the corner near the door. Her pulse raced. The woman hadn't left. She'd faked the door slam, stepping back into the shadows, out of sight from the stalls but close enough to pounce if Elena emerged. Why? Elena's mind spun with possibilities. Was she waiting to rob someone? Or was it something more sinister, like those stories of traffickers lurking in remote spots? The store was miles from anywhere, no security cameras in sight. Elena backed into the stall again, locking it quietly, her hands trembling. She had left her phone in the car. Stupid mistake. The breathing continued, patient and rhythmic, like the woman was content to wait all night. Minutes dragged on. Elena checked her watch. 15, then 20. Sweat trickled down her back in the stuffy room. She thought of Marcus outside, oblivious, pumping gas or browsing snacks. Finally, after what felt like hours but was probably half an hour, the door creaked open for real, the flip-flops fading down the hall. Elena counted to 100, her ears straining for any trick. Nothing. She unlocked the stall, washed her hands in a rush, and bolted out. The clerk looked up as she passed. "You all right? You were in there a while." That woman, she was acting strange. Pretended to leave but stayed hidden. He chuckled dryly. "Folks out here get peculiar, probably just spaced out. Safe travels." Outside, the night air hit her like a cool wave. Marcus was leaning against the SUV holding 2 coffees. "What took so long? I was about to come check." Elena glanced around the lot. The pickup truck was gone, but shadows played tricks near the edges. "There was this lady in the bathroom. She creeped me out, hid after faking her exit, like she was waiting for me." Marcus's brow furrowed. "Want to report it or something?" "No, let's just get out of here." They climbed in, doors locking with a click. Elena started the engine, pulling onto the empty highway. The incident gnawed at her, stirring old memories. Back in high school, she'd had an online friend, Lila, whose stories of a controlling ex had always left Elena unsettled. She'd cut ties years ago, but moments like this brought it back, the way danger could lurk in the ordinary. Miles ticked by, the radio playing soft static. Elena tried to focus on the road, but in the rearview mirror, distant headlights appeared. They hung back, matching their pace, not overtaking. Was it the pickup, or just paranoia? As the lights grew steadier, a chill settled in her gut. The highway stretched endlessly through Iowa's cornfields, the kind of flat, monotonous landscape that made Elena's mind wander. It was mid-afternoon on their second day, the sun beating down on the SUV's roof. Marcus had taken over driving, humming along to an old rock playlist. Elena sipped water from a bottle, trying to shake off the lingering weirdness from the gas station the night before. They'd stopped at a motel for a few hours of sleep, but her dreams had been fragmented, shadowy figures watching from the dark. "Look at that," Marcus said, pointing ahead. A silver SUV sat on the shoulder, hood up, hazard lights flashing weakly. A small woman stood beside it, waving her arms. She looked harmless, petite with short blonde hair, wearing jeans and a tank top. No other cars in sight for miles. "Should we stop?" Marcus asked, slowing down. Elena's stomach twisted. "I don't know. After last night, it's broad daylight. What could happen? We can just call for help if needed." He pulled over a safe distance ahead and they got out. The woman approached quickly, her face flushed. "Thank God, my engine just died. No signal out here. Can you give me a jump or a ride to the next town?" Marcus nodded. "Let me see the battery." He grabbed jumper cables from their trunk while Elena hung back, scanning the empty fields. Something felt off. The woman's eyes darted too much, avoiding direct contact. As Marcus connected the cables, the woman edged closer to Elena. "You're lucky you stopped. It's brutal out here alone." Her voice was casual, but her hands fidgeted with a large purse slung over her shoulder. Elena forced a smile. "We'll get you going, or call AAA if not." The woman shook her head. "No need. Just a ride would be faster. The town's only 20 miles. Marcus called from the hood. "Try starting it now." The engine turned over but sputtered out. The woman sighed dramatically. "See? Dead. Come on, let me in your car. You seem nice." Elena's instincts screamed no. "We can wait with you until a tow comes. I'll try my phone. Got a bar here." The woman's expression hardened. "What's the problem? Afraid of a little lady like me? I'm half your size." Marcus stepped in. "Hey, easy. We're just being cautious." But as he spoke, Elena spotted movement in the rearview mirror of the stranded SUV, a shadow shifting. Before she could warn him, a man burst out from behind the vehicle, tall and burly, face obscured by a cap. He charged toward them, something glinting in his hand. "Marcus, run!" Elena yelled, diving for the driver's seat. Marcus spun, shoving the woman aside as she lunged for the keys. The man raised a gun, firing a shot that pinged off their bumper. Adrenaline surged. Marcus jumped in as Elena floored the accelerator, tires screeching on the gravel. Another shot shattered the side mirror, glass exploding. The woman screamed obscenities, scrambling after them, but they sped away. In the chaos, her purse had tumbled into the footwell, spilling contents: lip balm, tissues, a folded note, and what looked like a small vial. "Holy crap," Marcus panted, checking the mirror. "That was an ambush." Elena gripped the wheel, heart pounding. They were working together, like a setup. They drove in tense silence until a small town appeared. Pulling into a diner lot, they caught their breath. Elena picked up the spilled items gingerly. The note was crumpled. "Next stop, mile 247. Wait for signal." Coordinates scribbled below. "This isn't random," Elena said, her voice shaking. "It feels connected to last night. That woman at the gas station, maybe part of something bigger." Marcus nodded, but doubt flickered in his eyes. "Let's report it to the cops here." As they headed inside, Elena's phone buzzed. An unknown number. The text read, "You shouldn't have stopped, but you did. See you soon." The diner in the Nebraska town was a throwback. Checkered floors, vinyl booths, the smell of grease and coffee. Elena and Marcus slid into a corner seat still rattled from the roadside ambush. A waitress with a name tag reading Darlene poured them coffee. "You folks look like you've seen a ghost." "Something like that," Marcus muttered. They'd called the local police from the parking lot. A sheriff arrived 20 minutes later, a burly man in his 50s named Harlan with a mustache and a no-nonsense stare. He took their statement, jotting notes about the man with the gun and the woman's purse spill. "Sounds like highway bandits," Harlan said. "We've had reports of pairs targeting travelers. I'll put out an alert. You got that note?" Elena handed it over. Harlan studied it, frowning. "Mile 247. That's west of here in Wyoming territory. Could be a drop point. Stay vigilant." As he left, Elena stared at her phone, the anonymous text burning in her mind. "This isn't coincidence. It feels personal." Marcus squeezed her hand. "Tell me about your past again. That online friend, Lila?" Elena sighed, the memories flooding back. In high school, she'd met Lila on a writing forum. They bonded over stories, sharing secrets. Lila lived in New York, Elena in Chicago. They'd talk daily, chats, calls, even collaborative docs for fan fiction. Then Lila mentioned Derek, a guy from her school. Quiet, intense. At first it seemed sweet, but details emerged. He knew too much about Lila before they dated, like he'd been watching. He isolated her, demanding to join their chats, accusing Elena of interference. "He said we were too close," Lila had confessed one night, voice trembling. Things escalated. Derek pressured Lila to cut ties, lied about Elena bad-mouthing him. During a visit plan, he forbade it. Lila broke up briefly, but he cycled back. Abuse, apologies. One night, Lila called sobbing. Police had raided Derek's place on a tip. Found plans to take Lila to a remote spot, force a forever pact with knives hidden. Elena had urged Lila to flee, even offered to help. But after, contact faded. Last Elena heard, Lila moved away. Derek institutionalized. "I always wondered who tipped the cops," Elena said now. "But it saved her." Marcus nodded. "And you think this road stuff ties in?" "Not sure, but that text, it echoes how Derek phrased things. You shouldn't have." Creepy. Overhearing locals at the counter, Elena caught snippets. "Another disappearance last week. Couple from out east vanished on I-80. Harlan returned, overhearing. "Rumors fly. But yeah, roads can be dangerous." "Where you headed next?" "Wyoming, then Montana," Marcus said. Harlan's eyes lingered. "Watch the canyons, twisty paths. I'll radio ahead if I hear anything." They thanked him and left, hitting the road as dusk fell. Elena drove, mind racing. Was Harlan too helpful, or just small-town kind? Hours later at a motel, Elena's phone buzzed again. Remember Lila? She's not the only one who got away. Her blood ran cold. Who knew that name? Wyoming's mountains rose like jagged teeth against the twilight sky, the highway winding through narrow canyons. Elena and Marcus had pushed hard that day, the SUV hugging curves as wind whistled past. The air grew cooler, scented with pine and dust. Elena's grip on the wheel was tight, the anonymous texts replaying in her head. They'd reported them to Harlan via a follow-up call, but he dismissed it as pranks. Up ahead, Marcus said, pointing. Brake lights flashed, then a pickup truck swerved wildly, tires screeching as it plunged off the road into a ravine. "Oh God!" Elena slammed on the brakes, pulling over. They grabbed flashlights and first aid kit. Marcus had EMT training from college volunteer work. Scrambling down the rocky slope, they found the truck on its side, teetering near a deeper drop. A large German shepherd barked from inside, frantic. Nearby, a man stood dazed, tall and wiry, with a blank stare that sent shivers through Elena. "You okay?" Marcus called. The man nodded slowly, but his eyes, dark, shadowed, held something malevolent, like a void sucking in light. From the truck, a woman's voice. "Help! The dog's stuck!" Elena approached cautiously. The woman was slim, with auburn hair, crouched amid shattered glass, feet cut. "He grabbed the wheel," she whispered urgently as Elena neared. "Tried to kill us both." Elena's heart skipped. "Stay calm. We're calling 911. She dialed, giving coordinates while Marcus checked the man, who muttered incoherently. "Dispatch confirmed. Be advised, male may have altered mental status, dangerous, back up en route." The woman refused to leave the dog, her demeanor oddly composed, yet desperate. "He's unstable. Don't let him near." Paramedics arrived, separating them. Police questioned everyone. An officer pulled Elena aside. "She says it was a murder-suicide attempt. He wanted to end it together, over the edge." Chilling. As they wrapped up, the man broke free, dashing into the woods. "You'll pay for interfering," he yelled. Back in the SUV, Elena trembled. Items from the Iowa spill matched the truck's stickers. Was this connected? As they drove on, headlights flickered in the mirror again. The same tale from Indiana. Montana's wilderness enveloped them, vast forests broken by clearings ideal for camping. After the canyon chaos, Elena and Marcus needed a break. They pitched a tent at a remote site near an old logging trail, the air crisp with evergreen. A fire crackled as they roasted marshmallows, but tension lingered. "Let's explore that abandoned mine tomorrow," Marcus suggested, trying to lighten the mood. Elena agreed, though unease gnawed. The escaped man, the texts, it all felt like a web closing in. Morning brought fog rolling through the trees. They hiked to the mine, rusted tracks leading into darkness. Birds called, but the silence felt heavy. A truck rumbled up the trail, a battered Ford stopping nearby. A man emerged, rifle slung over his shoulder. Burly, bearded, he scanned the area. "Hunting?" Marcus asked warily. The man grinned, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Yeah, game's plentiful." "This is no hunt zone," Elena said, recalling signs. He ignored her, raising the rifle casually, then aiming at them. Time froze. Marcus shielded Elena. "Hey, man." The hunter held steady, then lowered it, mimicking a shot with finger guns. He laughed coldly, got in his truck, and drove off. "What the hell?" Marcus exclaimed. They rushed back to camp, finding a slashed tire. Inside the tent, a note: "Interferers don't last long." Elena connected dots. The hunter resembled the canyon man. Subplot deepened. Marcus accused Elena of overreacting, straining trust. Digging near the mine, they found a buried bag. IDs, cash, evidence of road crimes. Night fell. Footsteps circled the tent, the truck's engine idling nearby. Something scratched the fabric. Idaho's forests blurred as they neared Seattle, rain pattering the windshield. Elena's phone rang. "Harlan. Got leads on your ambushes. Network of drifters preying on roads. Stay off backways." But suspicion grew. How did he know their exact route? They stopped at a rest area, nerves frayed. Suddenly, chaos. The canyon man and Hunter ambushed, guns drawn. "You ruined everything," the canyon man snarled. Twist. It linked to Elena's past. Derek was the leader's brother, blaming Elena for his institutionalization. "Lila told us about you." Chase ensued, SUV weaving through trees. Marcus swerved, crashing lightly. The dog from the canyon appeared, attacking the assailants. Elena grabbed a fallen gun, firing warning shots. Harlan arrived, revealed as undercover, busting the ring. But Twist, he was corrupt, in on it. Elena outsmarted him, using the note's coordinates to lure backups. Marcus was wounded, but survived. Elena subdued the threats, calling real authorities. Resolution: network dismantled, but scars remained. As they reached Seattle, a final text: "Not over," but Elena felt empowered. In Seattle, Elena unpacked, the city's drizzle a balm. Marcus recovered in hospital, their bond stronger. She started teaching, advocating road safety seminars, honoring the journey's lessons. Flash forwards: Elena marries Marcus, but paranoia lingers. Epilogue twist. The gas station woman was the ring's matriarch, arrested. But driving alone, Elena spots a tailing car, familiar, ominous. Was it truly over? The open road whispered doubts. Word count: 812. Note: shorter as per outline but adjusted.